All systems go, it looks like. Welcome, everyone. I'm Shane Wilson, and I am actually at the Meditation Learning Center. The last couple streams that we did were at my home, and I had to do some chores, I guess you could say. I'm the maintenance person at the Meditation Learning Center as well. So I had to take care of, I'm sorry, I got to get situated here. I had to take care of a few things, and I thought I would just stay here and do the stream in the meditation room. So I'm happy to be here. I feel very comfortable being here. I love the energy in this place. We expanded the Meditation Learning Center about almost a year and a half ago. And it's just been wonderful. People really, really like it. I like it. It's very, it feels good. You know, it feels good to be in it, a part of it, just being here. And hopefully we can get everybody, together and we can have our gatherings like we generally do. 4 or 5 gatherings a week and retreats. That type of thing, and we'll hope for the best. Hopefully we can get all that together. So anyway, I hope that you are feeling healthy and happy. You're taking an opportunity, to have a little bit of downtime, hopefully. Some of us are stressed out, and just try to realize that and see it come and go and see what it does within the body. There's really nothing to be afraid of if you feel healthy and if your family's healthy and if everything's going well for you, in the moment. Just cherish that. And, really take advantage of these days. And the way I say that, or the reason I say that, is because that was really the theme last week, as far as using this time to truly awaken, spiritually awaken. We can do more meditating, hopefully. We can spend more time in nature, which is many people's idea of spirituality. It's nature is like a god for a lot of people. It's wonderful. And, just see this as a gift, as difficult as it might be. Some type of lesson, that we can learn from. And that kind of goes into what we're looking at tonight, and that is cause and effect, or actions and their results, or what we could call karma. Karma, basically the word karma means action, and the full explanation of karma is the results of our action. And that doesn't mean that it's a penalty, like we do something bad, we get something bad. It doesn't work that way. And I'll try to explain here as simply as I can. This is really, again, an unrehearsed talk, and it's just an idea that I had to speak of karma. Karma is something that I really cherish. I think about it daily, sometimes hourly. If it can explain a lot of unanswered questions. I had a teacher that whenever she would talk about unanswered questions, she would talk about a child, for example, a child that is born. And actually, my brother had a child. His name was David, and he died from SIDS, or crib death. And we buried him when he was 8 days old. I believe he was 8 days old. Maybe he was 10 or 13 days, but he was very, very, very young. He was just a newborn little boy, and he died within his crib. He stopped breathing, and there's really no explanation of why this happens. But from a karmic standpoint, we could say that the reason this happens is because that baby, that person, that being, whatever we want to call it, was born because it had a little bit of karma to work out. If there's a little bit of karma within an individual being, there has to be a rebirth in order to work that karma out. So let's say that David, this little baby David, worked out this karma, and there's no reason for him to carry on the rest of that life. And if he did carry on that rest of that life, he would be a fully enlightened being. And generally, that's one of the reasons that there's not a lot of fully enlightened beings walking the earth anymore, like the Buddha was, because there is no reason for them to actually be walking the earth. And so they have a little bit of karma left. And once that karma is extinguished, there's no reason to go through this samsaric life. This samsaric life is basically suffering. It's stressful for the system. And we forget how stressful it is because we have been a part of it for so long. When we pass on from this life and go to the next life, there will be this period where we will discover, how peaceful it is not to have to live this life the way we're living it right now. And so that's why the Buddha said that life is suffering. We suffer, and this is what we get. If we die, or as we're dying, if we're fearful, like, what is going on? I don't know, I don't want to die, I'm afraid to die, we will come back. That intention is karma itself. The intention to, I don't want to die, I want to come back, from fear or from anxiety or from confusion. That is enough of an intention, enough karma for us to come back. Generally, we would have other karma that would bring us back as well. But the reason I say this about the intention is because in the Mahayana tradition, let's say the Chan and the Zen, the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, like the Dalai Lama, for example, or many of the other Tibetan Buddhists that we're familiar with, they believe in they believe in the idea of a bodhisattva. And like the Dalai Lama is a bodhisattva, that when the previous Dalai Lama died, he made the intention to come back and help sentient beings, the people of the earth, and beyond. It doesn't have to just be the earth, but to help sentient beings wake up and become enlightened. So that he made the intention to come back and do that. And that is strictly the Mahayana tradition. A Theravada Buddhist, they could make that intention and it worked for them, but in Theravada tradition, or Theravada Buddhism, which is translated as the teaching of the elders, they would rather do it basically the way the Buddha did with his last life. And he said, I'm done. I've seen the builder of this house. I know how this works, and I'm done. I'm not going to be reborn again. And he, one of his last words was for us to find our own salvation, to save ourselves, so that we too don't have to be reborn and have this suffering. But the Mahayana, they certainly honor that, but they are really taught and honor the idea that they want to be a bodhisattva and be reborn, or in some cases they might consider it reincarnated and come back as another monk or another person or whatever it might be to help sentient beings. And so that's one of the reasons why it is so important to live a life of service for others. And If you're watching this, you probably are living a life of service for others. At least 51% of your life should be towards others. And with that in mind, a person, whether they believe in the Bodhisattva ideal or not, they are living a good life. So karma is very interesting, from the standpoint of that little boy ending his karma, my brother's child ending his karma, and then passing at that moment. We can look at karma in many, many, many different ways. When we have an unanswered question, we can look at it from a karmic standpoint and go, what is the deal here? What's going on from a standpoint of karma? I'm just thinking right now, I had a strange thing happen today. I was leaving my home in Gilbert, Arizona. I was heading up to Mesa, Arizona. And the reason I say Arizona is because I know a lot of people are watching this all over the country, all over the world probably. And Arizona has a lot of strange insects, and one of those insects is the scorpion. And so I get in my car in the garage, and I'm backing up, open up the garage, and I'm backing up, watching the garage door close, and I also look at the dashboard of my car, and there's a scorpion inside my car, which I've never experienced before. And I'm thinking, this is very, very strange. And he crawls between the dashboard and the windshield, and I can see his little tail, and then he's gone. I don't see him. I go, whoa, wait, what's going on here? So I pull back in the garage, and I check out. I can't find him anywhere. I know he's inside the car. And this doesn't generally happen. They don't generally crawl up the tires of your car and figure out how to get inside. They don't want to do that much. He was obviously in the garage. About 5 days ago, I put a cardboard box in the back of the car, and he was probably in that box. So that's how he got in the car. He didn't want to be in the car. That wasn't his intention, but he is in the car. So I'm thinking, what do I do? Because I have really good karma with scorpions. And the reason I say that is because I catch them, and then whenever I go for a hike in the desert, I take them with me and let them go. So I really feel that I have a good connection with scorpions, and I don't feel threatened by them. I can, I don't hold them in my hand and give them a little kiss or anything like that, but I really feel that I won't be stung by a scorpion. But to have one in a closed quarter when you're driving down the freeway, it could be a little bit difficult to explain to the highway patrol that you got in an accident because you got bit by a scorpion or something like that. They might listen to you for a while, but then you'd have to show them the scorpion sting or something. And so it's just not a good situation to be driving and being attentive on your driving and have a full, an adult scorpion traveling around inside your car with you. And the worst case scenario is that it's a female and she has eggs, and she would lay eggs, and you'd have hundreds of little baby scorpions in your car, and you'd actually be breeding them, which could happen as well. So the situation I found, I thought, well, I'm just going to drive to Mesa. That was just a little while ago, and I'm going to go to the center and see what happens. I'll see if he shows up. And he never did show up. And I'm thinking, well, should I vacuum and try to find him? And I looked at all the crevices, all the different places that I would vacuum, and I no sign of him anywhere. I can only assume that he's still there because the windows and doors have been closed. And one thing about scorpions is they have a couple of, they're an incredible insect. First of all, you can step on them and they are not damaged. You can put them underwater for a couple hours and then pull them up, and they're fine. They're still breathing. They can get as thin as a piece of paper, so they can crawl under and into anything. One of their defects is that they can't crawl on glass. If you put them in a glass jar, you wouldn't even have to cover it up because they can't crawl up, and they certainly can't fly. And another one of the situations is that they don't like water. They don't like water at all. So when it rains, they're more active, and they're trying to get inside your house and your garage and trying to find shelter from this wicked water, you know. So, you know, with that in mind, I'm thinking, should I hose down my car so that they, you know, I don't want to hose down the interior of my Tesla, you know, to get rid of a scorpion. I'm kidding, of course. I don't own a Tesla. I would like to, but I don't. I own a Honda, and actually it's a Honda Fit. It's the cheapest model Honda you can get, but I love it. Anyway, we don't want to hose down the interior of our car thinking that there might be a scorpion in there. So what I've opted to do, remember, this is about karma, and I'm not going to fumigate my car and kill this scorpion basically because of the karma situation. I made a vow not to purposely harm any living being, and I believe it has really helped my karma by doing that. And that is, you know, what most Buddhists and people of integrity or morality would do the same thing. So that's not a big thing, but I'm not going to put an insect bomb or you know, spray the interior of the car and let it sit there and hope that this thing would die, because a lot of insecticides won't even touch a scorpion anyway. So what I've decided to do, long story short, right, on the next hot day, which will be next Sunday, I'm going to leave the car in the sun and leave the doors open, and hopefully it'll get so warm in there that he will, or she will try to find a way out, and then we'll go from there. I might have to you know, just clean the heck out of the car and see if I can find anything in there after that. So, and it's a black interior, so this scorpion should show up. Bark scorpions are light brown. They're the most poisonous scorpion there is. They're about this big. They are kind of transparent. They're called bark scorpions because they're the color of a lot of the bark on a tree, and they like to crawl in the bark where it's nice and cool and stay in there. The scorpion, it really is an interesting insect, but a lot of people just love killing them. They love catching them and starting them on fire and all these crazy things. But the scorpions are trying to survive just like you and I and everything else. So karma can be looked at from the standpoint of waking up as well. The Buddha, one of the characters of his awakening, and I believe the awakening of most humans, is that they recall their past lives. And the Buddha recalled hundreds and hundreds of his past lives, both as a human and as an animal, as an elephant and things like this. When you read the sutras, you can see these things, and he used these examples extensively, and he used them as teachings, and primarily in the form of, this is the lesson that I learned from this past life. And so he was saying that in this past life, I did this. This is the karma that created. And so that led to this. And then this action led to this result. And then this action led to this result, and on and on and on, all the way to his enlightenment. He was born, his last life, of course, he was born into as a prince, and he had things pretty good. You know, he had it pretty nice, but he knew that there was more, primarily because of his karma. His karma was that his father sheltered him in this beautiful home, and then when he saw birth, aging, sickness, and death as a young man, he realized that I can't be wasting my time sheltered in this home. I have to go out and find the truth. That was his karma. His karma based on the triggers that birth, aging, sickness, and death had brought about for him. And so all of these past lives is filled with different karmic episodes, we could call them, all the way up until that moment when he started meditating underneath the Bodhi tree, which is a huge, it's a member of the fig tree family, the ficus. We have a lot of ficuses here, and sometimes you can buy them in stores and stuff and use them as house plants. But this fig tree has great big beautiful leaves like this. I had some around here somewhere, but anyway, I don't want to get off the topic. But when he started meditating underneath this beautiful tree, in that meditation, he saw his past lives, all of them, and he remembered them as well. So if any of you have ever experienced a past life regression or seen some aspect of your past life, and I usually what happens is that you experience like the last, maybe the last, it could be anywhere from a few hours to even a few moments of your past life. Usually the most traumatic point of your past life, which is oftentimes your death. And just like anything else, the brain remembers the most emotional aspect of the things that has happened to you. The most sense-orientated and the most, in some cases, the most traumatic, and it'll remember it. That's why PTSD is so hard to work with. But if you have this experience in a past life, that recall, that memory of that, can come up in this life. And just that one recall itself is a life-changing experience for people. And that's what often puts people directly on that spiritual path, is that experience of recalling a past life, because it's filled with karma. And all of these questions that we have become answered, even if we experience how we died. And I know a great number of people that have had regressions, but they're confused because their death, they experience the death, they understand it, but it is so boring. They're alone, oftentimes alone. They're in the woods, nobody around, and they're laying on the ground, and they feel lonely. They feel sad that there's nobody there, and then it goes black for them. But even in that is a lesson. And the karma and the lesson are always the same thing. So the point I'm trying to make here is that karma is lessons in life itself. So our karma can be experiences from the past brought into this lifetime, or it can be something that is happening yesterday, and then we can experience that karma from that now. And there's no rules about how this happens. So if we experience a death where we're very, very lonely, we will probably have the intention that we don't want to do this again. And so in this lifetime, we might have a very uncomfortable feeling when nobody's around us. We might grow up wishing and trying to create the biggest family that we can have. We might feel as if we want to be famous, and so that everybody knows us. And that's why, quite frankly, a lot of famous people, actors, musicians, people that are well known, when they get off the stage and they go home or in their hotel rooms and they're alone, they are truly, truly alone, and they have trouble with that. They actually might have a drinking problem or a drug problem because of that loneliness, and that's an indication that they had experience in that in a past life, or maybe sometime in this life too, as a young child. It's all connected, actions and the results. So my challenge, that's not a challenge, let's call it an invitation, is for you to look at, if you've had any glimpses of past life or some of the more dramatic past experiences, to take a look at those and see these as karmic lessons and things that you can learn from. And really, really use these as a tool for your personal awakening and for your spiritual journey, because this is probably the greatest gift that you can have in this area. Now, a lot of times lately, people have been talking about karma, like cosmic karma, or like a group consciousness kind of karma, like what is happening in the world now. And that is a phenomena that I believe in, and it's even more so now because we are all in tune with one another. And that's why we have to be very, very, very careful with how this group karma can be manipulated. And you probably know where I'm going with this, but I'm primarily talking about the media and such things as false flags and just bad news, bad broadcasting, not the absolute truth, or stretching the truth, or just getting the facts wrong. I don't believe that all these news people are trying to cause harm. I do believe that they are, the more interesting the news, the more they sell. They want their ratings to go up as high as possible. So the news that they're fed is exaggerated, and they want to put it out, as most dynamically as they possibly can, and make it interesting so that people are glued to that TV screen or to that speaker or whatever it might be. And so with this bombardment and this great connection that we have with the internet and our technology, yes, absolutely, that all of this can affect the karma as a group within the world. And I do think that's what we're seeing here. And it's really proof in the pudding that this is huge, and it can happen very quickly. Look how fast, when the coronavirus news came out, we knew that it's isolated in China. Boy, I hope they sure take care of that. So, somebody's got to take care of that so it doesn't spread all over the place. And then when the news came out that, hey, it's out, it's in Europe, it's in the United States, it's in Australia, it's everywhere that people travel, and we are globetrotters. All of us have been probably around the world, and we know that we can do it in a couple days. From point A to point B, just in a couple airplane flights. It's incredible. And so we take this karma, we can call it a virus, and we take that with us, throughout the world, and we know what the results can be. So there is a connection, a real global connection with everybody, and but we want to make sure that we don't get misled as far as having the wrong information and have any kind of fear created behind this. And that is karma. There's there's so many different ways to explain karma. A lot of times when you talk to karma about people that haven't looked at it from a spiritual standpoint, they usually giggle a little bit. Yeah, boy, I got some karma, that's why I got this ache in my back. Oh, I don't know what happened there. It was something like that. But a lot of times people, they make fun of karma because they think that it's totally related to something that they did bad. But karma is karma. And the Buddha explained that there are steps to awakening. There's stream enter, the once returner, the non-returner, and the arahant. And all of these are different levels of doing away and dealing with karma. When we become an arahant or a non-returner, what is happening is that there's very, very little and then eventually no karma. And without karma, there's no reason for a rebirth. And even if you don't believe in rebirths or reincarnation, if you want to call it that, a karma is action and the result of our action. So that's the thing to keep in mind. If we do good in the world, sometimes it seems like, why is this happening to me? Oh, I've never hurt anybody. I've done nothing but good for people. But there's always something there. If we are suffering in any way, we have to look at that as some type that we're receiving, some type of signal from an action that has happened in the past, and look at it with gratitude. Which is very difficult to do, but we want to look at it in such a way that I'm going to go through this and I'm going to be a better person because of it. Just like everything that is happening in your life right now, if there's anything uncomfortable, anything that you could look at as being suffering, it is something that you have to work through, and it's something for growth. It's a lesson for you to learn, and it's something that will help you rise above where you're at now, for sure. And as a result, you'll be more inspired, you'll be more loving, you'll be more caring, you'll have more completeness in your life by going through any kind of suffering that you're experiencing now. And most likely, you've already experienced that yourself. Look at the high points in your life, and you'll see that after these moments of suffering, these are the most these aspects of your life are the ones that really provided the most insight and clarity and feelings of being complete. So we just have to work through these things and understand that the karma is what it is, and once I get through it, things will be as they are, and they might be delightful. There might be some more things that we have to work with, but that is life, and that is a part of karma. So I hope this has been helpful. We will do a meditation. I'm sorry I got so winded there. I hope you're still with me. We'll do a meditation here, and then we'll see what comes up after that. I'm going to try to keep this at about 25 minutes. So Arizona time, West Coast time, we'll be done with the meditation at 8 o'clock, and then we'll go from there and see what's happening. So please make yourself comfortable. Thank you for sharing this time with me and everybody else that is going within at this moment. We all have options of things that we could be doing this evening at this time. And to be able to spend this time in meditation is a gift that you're giving yourself. And it is through meditation and these practices that are related to meditation where we can get insight into the nature of our true selves, including the causes and conditions of why we are at this particular junction in our life at this time. Many of the things that we have done in the past are not remembered. We, as humans, have a way of not remembering things from a time standpoint. From the time of birth until the time of 2, we very, very seldom is there anyone that can remember any of these events. But all of these things are recorded. They're recorded in the body and in the mind. The Freudian term would be the subconscious. The spiritual term might be the Akashic records. And it might be karma. So karma is something that we could say we own, but it is not a definition of who we are as a human. If we would have a ball in our hand, like a tennis ball, and roll the ball across the floor, and then we would die in that moment. Of course, the ball would continue rolling if the floor was a hard, smooth surface, particularly if it was downhill. Even though it is us, me, my, that initially started this ball rolling by the action of moving it and pushing it with the hand. The rolling ball is not who I am, or not the person that started the ball rolling. But the karma is in motion. It's still happening. So the action is to start the ball rolling. The result is the ball is rolling. And then whatever happens after that is the result of that action. And it will be experienced. And so if somehow that ball would continue to roll, the person that started rolling it had died, and then somehow magically and very, very quickly was reborn someplace in that location, there is a chance that that rolling ball could bump against that newborn baby. And as silly as it sounds, that would be the result of that action. And that is the karma. but that is this very small scale. If we caused a crime, for example, and injured somebody, and we were placed in jail, and then we died while we were in jail, that person that is injured carries on their life. Maybe they have anger, maybe they forgave the person that injured them. Maybe they start a family, and these people are related to and understand the injury. Maybe they hold a grudge, maybe not. But that action is still prevalent. It's there. It's happening. And so generation after generation, the person that caused the problem, that was in jail and died, is reborn. One way or another, they will bump up against the result of that karma. It might not have any identification features of how it might be related to the injury that was placed upon that person in the past, but that action is still in motion. And the lesson can be learned by having that awareness. And that's really the gift of karma. If we bump into these things, experience suffering, and not look at it as a lesson that we somehow have to get, and be thankful for experiencing that karma and going through that karma, then it's almost as if it's wasted. We might most likely have to experience something very similar again until it is learned. But thinking about it and creating it and going back in time is not really the answer. The answer is in the present moment awareness. Because that's where the insight comes. This is called insight meditation, vipassana. We experience the body and the mind. We use the breath or some other object to bring us into the present moment, relinquishing the past and the future, setting aside all difficulties, all desires, all worry, all concerns, and just experience the spaciousness of mind. And so insight in regards to karma come up upon themselves. Insights into our past lives, insights into actions that we've done in the past, and their results happen on their own. They come up on their own in the area of insight, which is a experience of understanding, experiential understanding that can be very profound and very much the truth for us. So in meditation, again, we focus on the breath. We come into the present moment, relinquishing the past and the future, letting go, constantly letting go of anything sticky, even the idea that we want to remember something from the past. And in that spaciousness, can and will arise the understanding of karma, whether it's pleasant karma or unpleasant karma. If we have any recall or insights in any past life experiences, it will come from the mind being empty, not from the mind being busy. So empty the mind. Enjoy the peace of the present moment. Keep coming back to the breath. The mind always wishes to wander. To train the mind to understand that the present moment is a place of serenity, a safe place. Any thoughts that arise, just watch them come and go. They're just like the breath. They're not a part of you. The thoughts themselves are rising and falling like causes and conditions. Emotions, feelings, all coming into consciousness and falling away, just like karma itself. It's perceived and then let go of. Keep coming back to the breath. The mind fully open. Nothing to hang on to. Just trusting the peacefulness of this presence, the stillness of the present moment. Knowing that this is the best thing that you could possibly be doing at this moment. every action that is done, from every movement of the body, every thought, every emotion, every twitch of the eye, every movement of the hand or legs is an action. Action is karma. Every action has a result. That's what makes the wind blow, the trees grow, the leaves to fall, come back in the spring. That's what makes the sun shine and the grass grow. Every seed, every plant, animal, every being is a part of karma. It's a part of an action. The very first teaching of the Eightfold Path skillful understanding, the Buddha wanted us to understand and have this clarity about this idea of karma. That it is something real and something that everyone experiences, everything. It's a part of the nature of impermanence. It's a part of the nature of suffering. It's part of the teaching of non-self, anatta. If there's any ownership of anything, any type of microscopic ownership, it's not the things that we have, the cars or the relationships or the material things at all. It's simply karma and their results. And if we keep that in mind, we will be fine. We will live a blissful life. Because we will have an understanding of the lessons behind the teaching of karma, cause and effect. You can bring your hands together in front of your heart if you like. May each one of us and all beings of the world, may we all be well, happy, and peaceful. And may no harm or sickness come to us. May no difficulties come to us. May we all meet with spiritual and worldly peace and understanding. May we have the patience and the courage to meet and overcome any problems or suffering or difficulties that we might face in life as a result of the understanding and the clarity that we can have behind karma and how we treat and look at karma. Sadhu. Wonderful. I hope you enjoyed that meditation. I really did. I love being in this room. The Meditation Learning Center, it's not closed, but it is closed. It's funny, but it's all good. It's for a reason, you know. I get a chance to be here and to share all of this with people through video. You can't see the room. I wonder if I can spin this around. A lot of you probably haven't seen what the room looks like. If it's possible to do, I don't know how it looks without without any lighting, proper lighting. Anyway, I thought that would be fun. Take you for a little ride. So maybe that's good karma for me. I don't know. Just kidding. So the whole idea about karma is the clarity about the lessons behind it. And if we get that, we got it. If you do have the book 8 Mindful Steps to Happiness by Bhante Gudarasana, be sure to take a look at the very first step of the Eightfold Path. And he does explain karma very, very well. Skillful understanding is understanding the Four Noble Truths, karma, and the practice of letting go. Excuse me, no, I jumped ahead a little bit. But to understand the Four Noble Truths and cause and effect is the skillful understanding, the very first step of the Eightfold Path. And there are a lot of good books. I can't think of any offhand. I know that in the future, I know that I'll be writing a book about karma, probably in conjunction with my partner, Terry. And it's something that I haven't even talked to her about yet, but but it's coming up. We have to finish the project that's going on right now first. So the pandemic that is group karma, don't let that wave of that karmic wave that is not necessarily all truthful don't get caught up into that. Be a surfer and kind of go out there on your own, and check things out for yourself. The lessons behind karma is every lesson that we ever learn is already based on karma. So our understanding is just realizing where it came from and how we received it through that karma. I really think that's about all I got this evening. I've been. If you're still with me, that's wonderful. We put an hour worth into the spiritual work here and if it's a live class, a live gathering, we usually go for an hour and a half. But when it's just a video like this, I think it's wonderful. A stream, to an hour is a lot. And if you're still with me, I appreciate it. And I will be here next Wednesday, of course. And go to the Meditation Learning Center and check out all the other possibilities through Zoom. And tomorrow night, I'm going to be on Zoom with Ryan Nimick at, I guess, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Ryan Nemick, Nemec. I think you could just go to his Facebook page, Ryan Nimick, and you can get the information to tune in to his meditations. And tomorrow evening I'll be like a guest with his meditation broadcast on Zoom, which is a wonderful. They pertain to something that's important as somebody feeling more complete in life. And need any information about the different programs, or the different online things, the Zoom, the courses, retreats, various things, just let me know. Okay, I won't hold you up. Have a good evening, and I love you. Please be safe. Please be healthy, and please use your own mind to find your salvation. And let's all wake up. All right. Thank you.